Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Leong from Malaysia. I'm a doctor turned stand up comedian, and I'm very, very happy to be here at the Sit Down Comedy Club in Brisbane. Well, it was in 2010. I did my first ever open mic show back in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Back then, KL had only one stand up comedy show per month. And this was shortly after YouTube helped make Russell Peters a global sensation. So the ground was ripe for comedy, and there was this magazine called Time Out KL in back home who was doing, and they were doing like monthly shows in which they were losing money, but we were happy to go on stage and just try out material. And I did my first ever gig in June 2010, and the rest, they say, is history. I was a medical doctor, and I was working for 5 years. And the last 2 years, I was doing both stand-up and being a doctor. And then I quit in 2013, and I've been a full-time comedian ever since. The pussy. No, no. I think it's the freedom that I get to travel and work and do comedy, and I'm not tied to a 9 to 5 job. That's the practical aspect. The aspirations, of course, back in Malaysia is to further freedom of speech. In Malaysia, we don't even have full freedom of speech yet, and they say stand-up comedy is the last bastion of free speech. So I feel that by doing stand-up, me and a lot of other comedians in other third world countries like the Philippines and Singapore, although it's first world, Hong Kong and Indonesia and India, we are furthering the idea that you can be free to speak on whatever you want on the stand-up comedy stage and in our lives. The first time I actually did jokes on stage was when I was a student in UCD, University College Dublin. They invited a few students, international students, to speak about their experiences being students in Dublin. And I made a little joke. I said that in Dublin, the Irish people, they say they speak English, but they don't. Because they use words like pints, pubs, lads, and knackered. And I have no idea what all this meant at the time. And also they use the phrase, take the piss. And I know every single word in that phrase, take the piss, but I've never heard it used in that context before. So yeah, that was my first ever attempt at being funny. Oh man, of course. This was on the 23rd of January 2013. So what happened was, I was booked to do a corporate gig with two other friends. It was for an oil and gas company, and my friend got us the gig, and his friend was working for the company. So the friend was like, "Hey man, after this gig, if everything goes well, I may get a promotion." Okay, so we went to the gig. So I went on in the middle. So my other friend went on first. He killed, amazing, funny. Then I came on and I bombed so hard. I had 15 minutes of no laughter. No laughter. Nobody gave a shit. The food was served. They were busy eating. And when those who listened to me just didn't care what I had to say. So I bombed. I died. And then my other friend came on and he killed again. So it's like I was like a shit sandwich. And after the show, I remember almost tearing up and crying because my friend who got me the gig, he was tearing up. His friend who works in the company also was like, what the hell is going on? And I was in my room sobbing, almost sobbing, because it was on my birthday. All-time favorite is George Carlin. He is the man, the legend, a man before his time. I remember playing his clips while on the drive, and my wife heard it. This was last year, 2 years ago. She heard it and she remarked. She said, "Hey, this guy is really fresh and relevant." And this was George Carlin in 1995. So he's always my top favorite. Current contemporary favorites are Louis C.K. Sadly, he has done that to himself. Also, Bill Burr, amazing comedian. And regional favorites, I would say Rizal Van Gazel. He is a Malaysian comedian. He has opened up a full-time comedy club called Crack House Comedy Club KL. Amazing place to all the comedians out there. If you ever come to Kuala Lumpur, you must perform at the Crack House Comedy Club. So yeah, those are my favorites. Oh, obviously coming down to the Sit Down Comedy Club in Brisbane. That's the highlight. Let me see. I think the highlight so far there have been many highlights. I can't pinpoint exactly one or two highlights. I've won the 7th Annual International Hong Kong Comedy Competition. I've performed my own solo show at the Melbourne Comedy Festivals. I would say there's been many highlights. So it's been a compilation of great moments and great memories. In Malaysia, the scene has exploded. So we used to have one monthly show. Now we have close to 50 shows a month. The market is there. It's robust. International comedians come and perform to full houses in Malaysia. Kevin Hart last year in December performed to an almost packed out stadium. We've had Jimmy Carr. We've had Jeff Dunham. We've had Gabriel Iglesias. And we have emerging stars coming out from Kuala Lumpur. And I would say that looking back now, although the other countries' comedy scenes, we grew in tandem. So we grew together with Singapore, Hong Kong, Manila, Indonesia, India. But I dare say that Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, has the best stand-up comedy scene in the region. So yeah, that's the updates on the comedy scene. Yeah, I guess you gotta. Stand-up comedy is one of the few things where you can't try in the darkness. You have to fail up front in front of people and let people see you fail. It's very different from acting or dancing or singing, where you can rehearse for hours backstage and you can put on an almost flawless performance. But stand-up comedy, you have to grind. You have to be out on the stage. The audience is your judge, jury, and executioner. You must dare to fail. And stand-up comedy is a series of episodes of failures, but you fail forward. Well, I'm going to be finishing up my tour. Currently, I'm in Brisbane now doing my show called Harmful If Swallowed. I'm going to Adelaide and Perth, and then I'm going to tour around the region, Hong Kong, Singapore, and cities in Malaysia. And then myself with a few other comedians, we are producing a massive 10th anniversary show. It's called the Malaysian Association of Chinese Comedians. There's 4 of us. This year is our 10th year anniversary. So we're going to be touring even international tour, UK, Australia, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Singapore, the works. So it's going to be a big major project. So yeah, MACC 10th year anniversary. Stay tuned and I will give you updates. All right, thank you Brisbane for having me. Thank you the Sit Down Comedy Club. You guys have been amazing. Do follow me on social media at Dr Jason Leong on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.